Hello and welcome back to This Week in Maritime History, where we dive into the events that shaped life at sea. This week we've got whales sinking ships, battles that echoed through history, and two men who dared to row across an entire ocean. Let's get into it. On June 1st, 1850, Captain John de Blois left New Bedford aboard the whale ship Anne Alexander. At the time, it was a routine whaling voyage, but the following year Anne Alexander would meet a whale with a vendetta. Off the coast of South America, a wounded sperm whale rammed Anne Alexander, smashing through her hull and sending her to the bottom. The crew escaped in whaleboats and, remarkably, were rescued 2 days later by another whaler, Nantucket. The whale? She survived, briefly. 5 months later, crew aboard Rebecca Sims caught and killed her, finding splinters and harpoon fragments embedded in her skin. When Herman Melville heard about the story, he had already finished Moby Dick, but he couldn't resist commenting, calling the Anne Alexander whale a commentator on his book. Talk about life imitating art. Also on June 1st, but in 1813, the American frigate USS Chesapeake sailed out to meet HMS Shannon just off the coast of Boston. The battle was short and brutal. Within 15 minutes, Chesapeake was in British hands. As Captain James Lawrence lay dying, he reportedly gave the famous order, "Don't give up the ship." But the ship was taken and served in the Royal Navy for 6 more years before being dismantled. Some of her timbers were used to build a watermill in England, which still stands today as an antique mall. On June 5, 1942, the tides turned in the Pacific. The Battle of Midway had begun. American codebreakers had cracked the Japanese plan, giving the U.S. Navy the edge it needed. 4 Japanese carriers, Akagi, Kaga, Soryu, and Hiryu, were sunk, along with a cruiser and hundreds of aircraft. The U.S. lost the carrier Yorktown and the destroyer Hamon, but the victory at Midway shifted the momentum of the entire Pacific War. Later, the U.S. honored the battle by naming multiple ships Midway, one of which, CV-41, is now a museum ship in San Diego. Finally, on June 6, 1896, George Harbaugh and Frank Samuelson pushed off in a 20-foot open boat named Fox, aiming to row across the Atlantic. 2 months, countless blisters, and thousands of miles later they arrived in Europe, becoming the first people to row across an ocean. More on their arrival later this summer. From shipwrecks and naval battles to daring feats of endurance, this week reminds us that the sea holds no shortage of drama. Want to learn more about these ships? Visit ShipIndex-org to dive into the records yourself. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more maritime history each week.